Hi, this is Chef John. This tutorial will walk you through an Excel spreadsheet food cost exercise for 2 dishes. Before we begin, let's start by reviewing the inventory setup. When you go to the inventory spreadsheet, you will see items listed by category, and they're also listed alphabetically. In the example of the russet potatoes, it's sold by a 5-pound unit, and the price is extended out per pound and per ounce. Ingredient yields are listed in the yellow column. In your food cost sheet, you will be linking prices and yields from the inventory. Linking prices from the inventory saves time because as changes to the inventory prices are made, your food cost sheets will automatically be updated to the most current costs. Note that some prices are listed by weight, volume, or count. For example, onions may be listed by the bunch, by the piece, by the pint, or by the pound. Some items by count include fennel, and other items like milk are sold by volume. Remember when you're doing food costing to match the measure in the recipe to the same measure as the inventory. In this example, milk is sold by the gallon. We've also listed it by the ounce price. But if you need a half a gallon, a quart, or a pint, or a cup even, you can also list it as a decimal. Some recipes use volume for items sold by weight. For example, a recipe may call for a cup of onions, so then you'll have to convert it to weight. Some items that are sold by the piece you'll see are also listed with approximate weights, which can be very helpful when you're doing food costing. For example, onions, fennel, and lettuce. To begin your food cost exercise, go to the food costing sheet and make a duplicate copy. Then you'll want to rename that copy. Once you have made a copy of that master food cost sheet and renamed it, you can begin to do your food costing. Start by entering the menu item, the recipe yield, the number of portions, the portion size, and the date. Then begin entering the recipe items along with their quantity and their unit. Always keep your quantity and unit of measure in separate cells. That's because when you're doing formulas, Excel doesn't recognize letters. Once you have entered your recipe ingredients and quantities, begin linking the as purchased cost and edible portion yield. Remember, as purchased costs are often broken down to smaller units. Edible portion yields are in the yellow column. Match the recipe ingredient unit with the inventory unit. Right-click in the appropriate cell for the AP inventory price. Enter an equal symbol and then go to the inventory page. Look up the ingredient price, highlight the cell, and press the Enter key. The price will then be linked to the food cost sheet. Enter the unit of measure. Now link the edible portion yield. Right-click in the appropriate cell, enter the equals symbol, and then go to the inventory page. Find the appropriate yield percentage for that item located in the yellow column. Highlight that cell and press Enter. Your yield percentage is now linked to the recipe cost sheet. Do this for the remaining ingredients. For salt, pepper, and nutmeg, use an assigned cost of 25 cents. Remember to match the recipe ingredient with the inventory unit. If the recipe unit and the inventory unit don't match, you will need to convert it. In the example of cream, the original recipe recorded it as 1 pint, but the inventory lists cream by the quart. A pint is a half of a quart, so we can express the unit in the recipe as a decimal of 0.5 of a quart. For items like salt and pepper and herbs and spices, use an assigned cost. If you're just using salt and pepper, enter 10 cents. If you're using salt, pepper, and herbs and spices in the recipe, add 25 cents. Once the inventory price and edible portion yields are linked, we can begin to calculate the recipe edible portion and the ingredient food costs. The formula for calculating the EP price is located in the appropriately labeled column. In the EP price cell for each ingredient, enter an equals symbol, highlight the inventory AP price, type backslash, used for division equations, highlight the EP yield percentage and press Enter. Your formula has now calculated the edible portion price of the unit. Enter the unit of measure. To calculate the recipe cost for that ingredient, note the formula in the column. Enter the equals symbol, go to the ingredient quantity, highlight it, and then enter an asterisk symbol for multiplication. Click on the EP cost for that ingredient and press Enter. The formula has now been entered and the ingredient cost is in that cell. To complete the unit for the formula for each unit, use a shortcut. Hover your cursor over the lower right corner of the cell and grab it. Hold down your mouse key and drag it down, extending it through the rows of the ingredients. Your edible portion prices have now been calculated. Enter the unit of measure. Repeat the step for the recipe costs. Once the ingredients have been calculated for all units, you can total your costs for the recipe. Highlight the first cell of the ingredient costs and drag your cursor down to the last cell labeled Total Recipe Cost. Go to the Auto Sum tab located on the upper right of the taskbar and click on that. Your recipe costs have now been totaled. To calculate the portion cost, highlight that cell and enter the formula. Enter the equals symbol, click on the Total Recipe Costs cell, enter a backslash for division, click on the cell with the number of portions, and press the Enter key. To calculate a selling price, enter the equals symbol, click on the portion cost cell, enter a backslash for division, click on the cell with the 30% food cost, and press the Enter key. For the next exercise, we will be costing one portion of a vegetable side dish. Enter the recipe title, quantity, and portion size. Enter your ingredients and quantities. Link your AP prices from the inventory. Now link your EP yields for each unit. Calculate your EP costs per ingredient. Then total up your recipe cost. Enter your recipe portion cost in the appropriate cell. Determine your selling price by entering the formula. Be sure to save your work.